Hello, my name is Dallas, and this is my oral presentation for Richard Brady's Composition 2 class. I did my project on healthcare. My thesis is Americans should not be forced to buy health insurance, and this ties directly in with Obamacare. Some of the facts I have up here for you to see on my poster. One of the main points is Obamacare forces Americans to buy health insurance, which to me is unconstitutional. It's been passed as constitutional, but I still think that it... Gotta stop. Hello, my name is Dallas Bird, and this is my oral presentation for Richard Brady's Composition 2 class. I decided to do my project on healthcare, and my thesis statement is Americans should not be forced to buy health insurance. One of the main points I have is Obamacare forces health insurance on Americans. I believe that this is unconstitutional and that... Hello, my name is Dallas Bird, and this is my oral presentation for Richard Brady's Composition 2 class. I decided to do my oral presentation and paper on the healthcare system, and my thesis is that Americans should not be forced to buy health insurance. This directly ties in with Obamacare, which, as you can see, I have several facts stating different statements about Obamacare. The first one is Obamacare forces health insurance on the American people. I believe it is unconstitutional to be able to force anyone to buy anything. I believe it takes away your basic rights. Obamacare clearly states that Americans who do not have health insurance at the end of any calendar year will be penalized $95 for not doing so. If a president can enact a law like this, what's next? If you don't buy, a certain amount of food a day, or if you don't buy, a specific brand of, an electronic system, are they going to penalize us for that in the upcoming years? So that's one of the main problems that I've had with Obamacare the past couple, or the last year that it's been in effect. Another point that I have is Obamacare raises the taxes on the American population. It's a huge spending bust. Obamacare uses so much money, it's going to raise taxes. I mean, obviously, there's no way that it can be upheld without doing something. Obamacare uses just a ton of money. Other than raising taxes, Obamacare also cuts Medicaid funding. It raises taxes by approximately $500 billion. It does the same thing to Medicare cuts. It's going to cut Medicare by up to $500 billion in the upcoming years. In my opinion, there's no way that a country could sustain funding like that. We're already in a huge national debt. I don't believe that Obamacare could be sustained in the upcoming years, and I think we're going to have to change it if we want to get out of the debt that we're in. Another point I have, what we were just talking about, is it also increases the national debt. It cuts Medicaid by up to $500 billion, raises taxes by up to $500 billion, and it's also going to increase the national debt by just uncertain amounts. I mean, there's no telling how far it could go if we allow it to stay in effect. We already owe almost $20 trillion to other countries, mainly China. And I just don't think that we're going to be able to handle doing that much longer. Either China's going to say, give the money to us now, or we're going to get so far in over our head that we will never be able to get out of debt. Another point I have is Obamacare prevents Americans from keeping the health insurance that they would like to keep. There's a video by Mitt Romney on usnews.com. He explains a lot about Obamacare. This was one of his points. Up to 20 million Americans are going to lose the health insurance that they already have. Obamacare is going to pretty much come in and force them to have government health insurance, which is going to be putting the government in between them and their doctor. On top of already forcing Americans to buy health insurance, even if they wish not to buy it, maybe can't afford it. Now he's going to imply a law that states that for certain people, they're going to have to take the insurance from the government instead of the insurance that they're currently holding and would like to keep. Another thing affecting civil rights, you should be free to choose whatever, health insurance you want, just like you should be able to free to go and buy, if you wanted a TV, you should be able to buy a Samsung TV over a Sony TV or vice versa. It should be what you choose and what you want. So, that's another big problem I have with Obamacare, the healthcare system. I really think that there are good alternatives out there that we could use to replace this. And another thing, another big problem, Obamacare has been deemed a tax by the Supreme Court. He said over and over again that this is not a tax. There's another video on foxnews.com of Sarah Palin. She explains, Obama came on, he repeated over and over, Obamacare is not a tax. Obamacare is not a tax. And then when the Supreme Court finally made a decision, they said that it may not be unconstitutional, but that it is a tax. And as I stated before, it's that $95 penalty for not having health insurance. You're basically taxing people for not buying something that you want them to buy. I understand that, most people do need health insurance, but it should be at the discretion of each individual person to decide what's best for them. No one should be able to tell them how to best spend their money. No one should be able to tell them they have to buy this or have to buy that. It should be up to the American people as, per individual, whether they want to buy the health insurance or not. Overall, I would say that the health insurance policy that we had before was probably better than this, just because of the fact that it allowed people to have their own choice. There's actually a documentary by someone who brought up a good alternative to Obamacare. Basically, she stated prior to World War II, people were able to pick and choose their own health insurance coverages. Maybe they didn't need full medical, maybe they only need partial, however they wanted to choose it. After World War II, businesses started competing, and to get employees from other businesses to make them want to work there, they started offering health benefits. As time went on, the benefits became pretty much a consensus, so every job was offering almost identical health benefits. That way, an employee wouldn't be convinced to go to another business rather than yours. So she brought up that perhaps maybe we should go back to that way of thinking. Maybe we should let the people decide exactly what they want in their health coverage instead of forcing them to buy something that they may not want. Also, as a whole, I just think that Obamacare just really isn't good policy. I believe that we could do much better, and as I've said, I don't believe that this is a sustainable health insurance. Health insurance is overpriced. I understand, and maybe he was thinking this would lower the prices, but it's really not going to. Forcing people to buy health insurance, it's just going to create more competition between companies to get people to want their health insurance instead of the Obamacare health insurance. And just a quick recap, Obamacare forces the health insurance on Americans. Religious groups or certain people who may not want health insurance, well, too bad, now they have to have it or they're going to get penalized. Raises taxes by up to $500 billion. That's a lot of tax. Maybe not now, but in the upcoming years and on, us, my generation, and, the generations to come, they're going to have to deal with that. And it's going to raise taxes on them substantially. It also cuts Medicaid funding by up to $500 billion. So now we're up to $1 trillion between just taxes and Medicaid. And that's going to stop Medicaid from reaching out to people who may need it desperately. It might cut them off if you're on the line in Medicaid. He cuts funding by up to $500 billion. You might not get Medicaid anymore. On top of the $1 trillion that we're already losing here, it's going to increase the national debt even further. It's just not enough. The $1 billion here isn't enough to sustain it, so he's going to have to borrow more money to keep this into effect. It's too expensive to keep. Obamacare will prevent Americans from keeping the health insurance they want. Self-explanatory. You shouldn't be forced to buy any health insurance, and then you shouldn't be forced to have to switch your health insurance because of a policy. And Obamacare is a tax. He lied about it being a tax. The Supreme Court ruled it a tax. So take it as you will. This was my project for Richard Brady's Composition 2 class. Again, my name is Dallas Bird. Thanks for your time.